Having a job is hard. Having a business is hard. Choose your heart. Having a partner is hard. Not having a partner is hard. Choose your heart. Everything is hard. So even though I started then my own company and built that company profitably and grew it a ton and had more success than I'd ever had in my entire life and more freedom than I'd ever had in my entire life, I also had more pain than I'd ever had in my entire life. At one point, I had a partner who wanted to stop working, but wanted to keep part of my main company. The only way that I could get him to stop is I had to pay him $1 million. I had to go through lawsuits and back and forth and gnarly letters until finally I said, I will pay you $1 million to just leave. Just like stop working because you're just in the way of everything. Just get out of here and here's $1 million. So that was my first probably $1 million payout. And so it doesn't get easier as you get bigger, but you do start to build up this armor of no's and can'ts and shoulds until eventually it almost stops bothering you. Eventually, you won't get bothered by the things that bother you today. Like there's some magic that happens the more you get in entrepreneurship. It's like lifting in the gym. In the beginning, maybe 5 pounds, kind of a lot. Then it's 10, then it's 15, then it's 20. Then at some point you cannot even reconcile that 5 pounds used to be enough because you keep having gains and gains and gains. And it is the same thing in the game of success, money, life, and business. The more difficulty you have, the more burden you can carry. I don't ever think it gets easier. You just get better. And so you shouldn't ask for an easier path. You should ask for the ability to shoulder more. Those are what my prayers sound like. It doesn't sound like give me all this money, make it easier for me. It usually sounds like give me the strength and confidence to believe that this is possible for me. Give me the ability to do this task or to learn more intelligently until I can. Please don't give me problems and tasks that I cannot handle right now, but give me the ability to learn how to handle the ones that I do have. And then like at some point in your life, you will have a moment in which you think you will lose everything you have built. When you're young, you actually don't have much to lose. You have something called ego risk that you could lose, reputational risk that you could lose. But you don't actually have a mortgage and kids and finances and overhead at your company. You don't have all this big, huge risk that's hard to understand when you're young. But eventually you will. I've never met an entrepreneur that hasn't had a moment that almost broke them. And usually the joke when I tell that story is somebody in the crowd will go, only one? Because you're going to have many moments like that. And this was one such moment where I had built the company, I was doing all the things, but I had another member of my company running some of the finances. That person was either inept, incompetent, or fraudulent. And I didn't realize it, but we were a few weeks away from being completely out of money. I am talking about employees that I couldn't pay. I am talking about having to shut it down. I'm talking about complete and utter loss and so much fear about what that would look like, especially when you wrap up your identity into what you were, a business owner, a CEO, or whatever. And I was so scared for that to happen. And I remember, I've told this story before, but I remember talking to my dad at that point and saying, what do you do when you don't know where to go? You don't know what to do. You don't know who to talk to next. And he calls that your head in the hands moment, when you're sitting alone on the couch in the dark with no idea what to do next. And he said, you're not in the game if you haven't had that moment. You're not in the game of success if you haven't felt completely lost, if you haven't felt like you were going to lose it all, if you haven't been completely mortified at the idea that you might not make it. If you have, then you're in the game, baby. But if you haven't, then you aren't taking big enough risks. That one little risk, I think without it, all of the companies I have today, all of the opportunity would have never been there, because you cannot have financial success with multiple zeros if you have no system of oversight to make it. Almost losing everything built the foundation to make sure I never do that again. Almost losing everything meant that I understood how to run a real company, not how to have hope, luck, and a prayer. So that thing in front of you at this moment that you think is going to break you might actually be the thing that is going to catapult you to the next level of the game. There's a quote that I love by Austin Butler, and I want to play it.